Today's video will cover all the steps needed to make a wonderful honey oat bread. By following these procedures, we will assure a consistent product for the program. On the day before you're going to bake, you will make a pre-ferment called a pouliche. A pouliche is equal parts flour and water by weight, with a small amount of yeast. Add the yeast to slightly warm water, around 110 degrees, and stir. The water should not feel the least bit hot, as water over 120 degrees will kill the yeast. Stir in flour until fully combined. Cover with plastic wrap. Leave at room temperature for 2 to 6 hours and then refrigerate for use the next day. We'll begin with soaking the oats. I'm going to combine the water, oats, oil, and yeast. Just give everything a gentle stir and then set aside for 5 minutes. Now that your oats and the rest of the ingredients have been soaking, it's time to move on to the autolyse stage. What we're going to do is we're going to take half of our whole wheat flour. We're going to gently fold it or stir it in to the oat mixture. Once everything's thoroughly combined and you don't see any more flour, go ahead and cover it. You're going to cover your bowl for about 15 minutes. During this time, the water is going to fully hydrate the flour, allowing for a much easier shaping of your final product. Now that the autolyse is complete, it's time to add the pouliche. Using a rubber spatula or a spoon, stir in the pouliche to your dough mixture. Once the pouliche is stirred around real good to help incorporate it, add the rest of your flour, the salt, and the honey. If using a mixing bowl with a dough hook, knead for 8 to 9 minutes on medium-low. If kneading by hand, it will likely take closer to 15 or 20 minutes till you'll get a smooth dough. Since different flours have different absorption rates, you may need to add some additional flour so that the dough releases cleanly from the sides of your bowl. The high gluten or bread flour listed as 30 grams at the end of your recipe can be used in small increments to achieve a smooth dough. You may or may not need this additional flour. After the kneading and a smooth dough has been achieved, cover your mixing bowl with plastic and set aside for 1 hour. Alternatively, you can remove the dough and place it in another bowl covered with plastic to rise as well. Okay, now it's time to remove our risen dough. Take it out of your bowl and place it on a lightly floured counter. In order to make portioning easier, shape it into one uniform elongated piece. Use a bench scraper or knife to cut 140 gram pieces. Make sure to use a scale to check. Once all your dough balls are portioned, take each piece one at a time on a lightly floured counter. Flatten it to a rectangle. Starting at the small end, roll it over itself, pinching and creating surface tension. Tuck the seam under and tuck in the ends. Lightly roll to smooth it out. Then roll your demi-loaf in water and oats. Gently place in a loaf pan. You can fit 4 demi-loaves in each standard loaf pan. Now that all your demi-loaves are in the pans, wrap with plastic wrap or cover with a moist towel. Let rise for approximately 45 minutes. This will depend greatly on the temperature of your kitchen. Could be more, could be less. Loaves are properly risen when they're about a ½ inch to an inch below the top of the pan. When gently pushing your finger into the top of a loaf, it should leave an indentation and not automatically spring straight back. Place the pans in a preheated 400-degree conventional oven. If using a convection oven with a fan, lower your temperature to 375 degrees. Bake for approximately 20 minutes. To test for doneness, insert an instant read thermometer into the center. It should read approximately 190 degrees. Cool the loaves to room temperature before packaging.